Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. We're traveling back to the incredibly tense morning of February 1st, 2003. NASA's Space Shuttle Columbia is attempting its return to Earth after a 2-week mission. Families, friends, and space enthusiasts are all just waiting with bated breath to welcome the crew home. Down at Mission Control, Capcom Charlie Hobaugh was running through some totally routine tire pressure readings. Mission Commander Rick Husband started to reply. He said, "Roger," and then the radio feed simply cuts off. Hobaugh made these chilling final attempts to make contact. Columbia, Houston, UHF, Comcheck. But there was nothing but silence. The ground teams were completely unaware that a violent explosion was tearing the shuttle apart right at that very moment high above Texas. Section 1. The Loss of Columbia. A routine flight ends in tragedy. You know, this was supposed to be a completely routine return for the 28th flight of the space program. Everything seemed completely normal as the shuttle re-entered the atmosphere at 8:44 a.m. But instead of a triumphant landing, onlookers on the ground looked up and saw what looked like a comet breaking apart in the sky, just trailing blazing light and scattering debris. A few hours later came the absolutely devastating confirmation from President George W. Bush: the Columbia is lost. There are no survivors. All 7 astronauts perished, and among them was Kalpana Chawla, an Indian-born American mission specialist whose incredible life story remains a profound inspiration worldwide.
Section 2. Kalpana's Journey to Space. From Karnal to the Cosmos.
To really understand the weight of this loss, we have to look at Kalpana's fierce determination right from day one. She was born in Karnal, India, in 1962 to a conservative family. This was a time and place where expectations for girls were heavily restricted, but she defied all of that to literally reach the stars. At home, she was just nicknamed Montu, but when her sister took her to school and the administrators demanded a formal proper name, she didn't wait around for her parents to decide. She chose her own name, Kalpana. It's a noun meaning imagination. She named herself Imagination, and she absolutely never let go of it.
She faced a lot of early discouragement, even from her own father and teachers who saw zero future for a girl in aeronautics, but her ascent was just relentless. She studied aeronautical engineering in Punjab, flew out to Texas for her master's, and by 1988 earned her PhD. Then, in 1994, NASA actually selected her out of 4,000 applicants. By 1997, she made her first spaceflight, orbiting the Earth over 250 times and making history as the first Indian-origin woman in space.
During that first 16-day spaceflight, she had this really profound realization. She said, "When you look at the stars and galaxy, you feel that you are not just from any particular piece of land, but from the solar system." It's such a beautiful perspective on global unity, isn't it? She wasn't just an American or an Indian in orbit. She belonged to the cosmos, and that really highlights why her story resonates so deeply across all borders.
Section 3. Science aboard the final mission. STS-107's Global Laboratory.
Let's move to our final mission, which launched in January 2003. And get this, it launched after a staggering 13 delays dating all the way back to 2001. But once they were up there, the crew of 7 ran non-stop experiments, working in shifts 24 hours a day for 16 straight days. The incredible science happening on board included around 80 different experiments. Kalpana herself focused on microgravity. They analyzed prostate cancer 3D spheroid growth, which helped researchers understand tumor behavior way better than they ever could on flat lab dishes here on Earth. They even discovered that flower scents actually alter in space. Plus, they ran school projects sent in by kids from 6 different countries, observing how spiders, bees, and silkworms react in zero gravity.
Okay, here is an absolutely astounding scientific footnote about this mission. A live group of microscopic roundworms actually survived the fiery crash. Because they were housed inside these protective aluminum canisters, they made it to the ground with only minor heat damage. And even more incredibly, their descendants actually went back up to space in 2011.
Section 4. The Fatal Foam Strike. A Sequence of Negligence. I need to make something perfectly clear right off the bat. None of the 7 astronauts made a mistake. Did a crew member err? No. Did they panic? Not at all. Recordings actually show them laughing and joking just minutes prior. The warning signs, like that lost tire pressure, only appeared on their screens exactly 1 minute before communication completely failed. The true culprit was terrifyingly small. A piece of insulation foam that broke off the external tank measured just 60 by 40 centimeters, think the size of a small suitcase, and weighed a mere 750 grams. But 81 seconds after launch, it struck the left wing at an immense speed of 700 to 900 kilometers per hour.
The 2003 Columbia Accident Investigation Board impartially laid out the entirely tragic timeline that followed. Step 1. The foam strikes the wing. Step 2. Days later, NASA engineers request Department of Defense spy satellite images to assess the damage. Step 3. NASA officials actually refuse those imaging requests. Step 4. The uninvestigated mission just continues. And finally, Step 5. During re-entry, the damaged wing leaks air, superheated gases enter, and the shuttle disintegrates. The official investigation board laid out this stark administrative failure, pointing directly to the refusal to investigate the strike.
The official report also noted a truly tragic detail. Out of 79 prior space shuttle missions where launch photos were available, 65 had experienced similar foam strikes. 65! This perfectly demonstrates how NASA had fatally normalized this risk. It was considered a routine occurrence. But this time, that incredibly lightweight piece of foam hit the wrong place at the absolute worst possible time.
For years, a huge question lingered about what the crew experienced in those final moments. A 2008 survival report provided a grim, but in some ways comforting, closure. The instantaneous depressurization of the cabin meant the astronauts experienced a painless, immediate passing before any extreme heat exposure. They did not suffer during the violent hypersonic breakup. The report also firmly concluded that absolutely no existing technology could have saved them once the breakup sequence began.
Section 5. A lasting space legacy. Inspiration beyond the stars.
In the aftermath of all this, NASA paused the entire space shuttle program for 2.5 years. They completely redesigned the external tank's foam ramp to ensure this specific disaster was never, ever repeated. And it wasn't, right up until the shuttle program successfully concluded its 30-year run in 2011. Kalpana Chawla's impact, however, outlasted the shuttle program itself. Her legacy literally spans the universe. Here on Earth, her passion for education led to sponsored girls from her own Tagore-Balnikitin School visiting NASA year after year. Up on Mars, the landing site of a NASA rover was named the Columbia Memorial Station. And out in deep space, there's an actual asteroid orbiting between Mars and Jupiter, officially named 51,826 Kalpana Chawla.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Kalpana literally means imagination. She named herself, charted a path from a small town in India to the very edges of our atmosphere, and fundamentally changed how we understand the cosmos. So the question is, how will her imagination inspire the next generation of solar system explorers? It's an incredible reminder for all of us to look up, stay curious, and carry forward that relentless passion for discovery.